Just 1 pound of this extraterrestrial substance is worth about $9 million. That's 163 times more expensive than cocaine, 225 times more expensive than gold, and even 75 times more expensive than Bitcoin. And while most Americans have never heard of it, I believe it will soon become the most valuable resource in the tech world because it will unlock the next generation of artificial intelligence, what I'm calling QAI. And if you know what to do, I believe you'll have a rare chance to build wealth faster than any other tech trend in history. As the Motley Fool says, while the AI results we've seen are impressive, they pale in comparison to what QAI can do. It's the next big technology that could change the world. And as you're about to see, this new type of AI is so powerful that it could trigger a $100 trillion tech revolution and return 1,500 times more money than Nvidia, which has been the hottest stock in the world in recent years. But you need to keep an open mind because once I tell you the full story, you will not want to believe me. This crazy story involves a former Apollo astronaut who walked on the moon, an extraterrestrial substance that could provide enough clean energy to power America for the next 40,000 years, and a new type of computer with godlike powers that, according to Bank of America, could be the biggest breakthrough since fire. Now, once you hear all the details of this bizarre story, the chances are you'll tell yourself this is just science fiction. But you should know that venture capitalists, the U.S. Department of Energy, NASA, and the National Science Foundation are all backing a little-known Seattle-based company because they know it's the only company in America that could help us secure the supply of this alien technology and unlock the full potential of QAI. So if you can keep an open mind, keep watching because in the next few minutes, I'm going to give you all the details on this company, including its name, completely free of charge. And I'll show you how you can potentially profit from this $100 trillion tech revolution. But you're going to have to act fast because this new tech is advancing so quickly that it's already shocking AI geniuses like Elon Musk and the CEO of Nvidia, Jensen Huang. And if you blink, you'll be left out. And I predict rich, legendary investors will walk away with all the profits. You see, while most everyday folks are in the dark, some of the smartest investors on the planet are going all in on QAI. I'm talking about billionaires like Ray Dalio, the founder of the world's largest hedge fund. He predicted that QAI will send us all through a time warp and that in just 5 years, everything will be different. We'll feel like we just traveled into the future. Mark Andreessen is also invested in this new technology, and he's arguably the best venture capitalist on the planet. He got into Facebook, Twitter, Airbnb, and Coinbase before they went public, and now he's betting big on QAI. Even Warren Buffett, who's not known for his tech investments, is getting involved. He invested in 3 companies that are helping develop this new technology. And I can't blame these investors for going all in because many of the companies involved in the development of QAI are already exploding higher and delivering returns orders of magnitude larger than Nvidia. For example, this QAI company jumped as high as 1,500% in just a couple of years. That's enough to turn $5,000 into more than $80,000. Now, that kind of performance beat Nvidia by more than 500% during the same period. This other QAI stock has jumped even higher, as high as 4,400%. That's almost 9 times higher than what Nvidia returned during the same period, and it was enough to turn $5,000 into almost $250,000. Or take a look at last year's performance of this other QAI stock. This was even more impressive because in less than 6 months, it jumped high enough to turn $5,000 into more than $300,000. Had you invested that same $5,000 in Nvidia during the same period, you'd have made a tiny profit of only $186. So think about how crazy that is. While the hottest AI stock on the planet produced a return of $186, this little-known QAI stock returned $300,000 during the same period. That's more than 1,500 times more money than Nvidia. Now look, as a former tech executive with decades of experience working around the globe, I've been following the development of AI from the very beginning. I even picked Nvidia in early 2016 before it jumped 27,000% higher. The AI boom has been incredible, and it's already minted 600,000 millionaires in America alone. But if you're only investing in the old AI companies, I have to say it, you're living in the past. It's too late to make massive gains like that. Nvidia was dirt cheap when I first recommended it almost a decade ago, but after jumping more than 200 times higher, well, it's no longer a screaming bargain. So if you missed the AI boom that started with the release of ChatGPT, please listen up, because QAI could be your second chance. I believe this new $100 trillion boom is just getting started, and it will make a lot of people rich. But this story also has an ugly side. QAI is so powerful that I believe it will trigger a complete economic reset, turning the entire stock market upside down. According to the Bank of America strategist, QAI is the first technology that will reset everything. I predict fortunes will be made and lost on a scale that we've never seen before, because QAI is set to disrupt all these industries that you see on the screen. From healthcare to financial services, from national defense to agriculture, I'm talking about a $100 trillion tech revolution that will reshape virtually every industry on the planet. But make no mistake, QAI is about to trigger the biggest tech shakeup in history. And the stakes could not be any higher, because those who don't prepare for this massive coming disruption could watch their wealth evaporate virtually overnight. Billionaire investor Vinod Khosla also believes we're entering a period of extreme tech disruption. He predicts we will see a faster rate of demise of Fortune 500 companies than we've ever seen. That's coming from the man who backed Google and the creator of ChatGPT, OpenAI. And he says half of Fortune 500 companies could simply disappear because of AI advancements. And that means shares of some of today's biggest companies could crash all the way to zero, wiping out millions of unprepared investors. But if you know what to do, if you pay attention to what I'm about to reveal, I believe you'll have a rare chance to walk away with the biggest payday of your life. You see, in the midst of all this coming disruption, I predict a few unknown startups will quickly become the giants of tomorrow, creating wealth faster than anything that we've ever seen before. I'm about to give you the name of one of those startups because I want you to be on the winning side of this tech shakeup. It's a tiny Seattle-based company that I believe holds the key to this new $100 trillion tech revolution, and it's backed up by venture capitalists, the U.S. Department of Energy, NASA, and the National Science Foundation, and it's planning to make a critical move this December that I believe will land them on the front pages of the Wall Street Journal, blowing the lid on this $100 trillion opportunity. And I'm about to give you the name of this company, completely free of charge, no strings attached. And I promise this will be a company that you probably never heard of before. But before we get to all of that, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about myself, because you should know that all of this research that I'm sharing with you today is backed up by decades of my real-world, boots-on-the-ground, global executive experience in the tech sector. My name is Jeff Brown, and I'm a former senior executive of 3 major public tech companies: Qualcomm, NXP Semiconductors, and Juniper Networks. These 3 firms now generate more than $50 billion in annual sales. And because of my tech expertise, I've advised senior officials of the Department of Commerce, policymakers, members of the National Institutes of Standard and Technology, and the Defense Intelligence Agency Thanks to all that experience, I've been able to see some of the biggest paradigm shifts in the technology of the past 2 decades, way before those trends became mainstream. For example, back in 2015, most people, they thought Bitcoin was just a scam or some kind of magic internet money. The Wall Street Journal even published a piece saying that the fair price of Bitcoin is zero. And shortly after that article was published, I wrote this write up you see on the screen, encouraging people to buy Bitcoin. Back then, Bitcoin was trading for just $240, but I knew it was about to skyrocket because we were dealing with a paradigm shift in money. Anyone who listened to me and held on had a chance to turn $1,000 into almost $500,000. And then the following year, I spotted another major tech paradigm shift. In February of 2016, when almost nobody was talking about artificial intelligence, I picked Nvidia as one of my very favorite stocks. And because of its dominant position in graphic processing units, or GPUs, which are the chips that are powering today's AI revolution, Nvidia, well, it went from a little-known company to arguably the most popular stock in the world. And guess what? Shares have jumped by more than 27,000% since then. That's enough to turn just $1,000 into $277,000. In 2018, I also saw a paradigm shift in transportation and predicted Elon Musk would trigger a revolution with his self-driving Teslas. Now, back then, most people thought self-driving cars were just science fiction. The media went so far as calling Elon Musk a fraud, and Wall Street analysts were predicting Tesla, it was about to crash. Virtually everyone thought shares of Tesla were overpriced because they were analyzing it as a car company. But here's what I told my readers in 2018. When I think about Tesla, I see one of the leading artificial intelligence companies in the world. This is the incredible part that most don't see or understand. Tesla designed a software AI platform designed to operate cars. That was back in November of 2018. What has happened since then? Well, the Tesla Model Y has become the best-selling vehicle in the entire world. Not the best-selling electric vehicle, but the best of any kind of passenger vehicle. And Elon Musk has begun a national rollout of his robo-taxi network with cars powered by an AI that can safely drive you with no one at the steering wheel. That's why instead of crashing like the media was predicting, shares of Tesla have jumped 2,150% from 2018 to its peak in 2024. And those who listened to me and held on had a chance to turn $1,000 into up to $22,500. Now, I'm telling you all this because I want you to understand that when it comes to big technological shifts, I have a track record of seeing them way before they hit the mainstream media. And I believe we're at the cusp of the biggest paradigm shift ever. Yes, even bigger than AI. As Inc. magazine says, QAI will reset everything, including the future of AI. You see, artificial intelligence depends on two things to operate: data and raw computational power. Now, in recent years, Nvidia has developed more and more powerful AI chips, and those chips became advanced enough to power language models like OpenAI's ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, and xAI's Grok, and other big AI applications that are just now going mainstream, like self-driving cars and intelligent general-purpose humanoid robots. But AI is now hitting a wall because it's still powered by classical computing. I'm talking about computers that operate using bits, the binary digits that are represented as either 0 or 1. Now, those computers don't have enough power to process extremely complex data, and for that reason, AI hasn't been able to solve some of humanity's most complex problems. For example, we haven't been able to use AI to develop a new drug that could cure cancer. That problem is just too complex. We haven't been able to use AI to predict weather disasters like hurricanes and floods with 100% precision. Modeling global weather with that kind of absolute certainty is a problem that is too complex. Even today, most powerful supercomputers can't solve it. We also haven't been able to use AI to discover new materials that will build forever batteries, batteries that never need to be charged. Now, all these problems are so complex that they're beyond the reach of classical computers. But there is a new type of computer that comes with godlike powers, a computer so powerful that I believe it will help trigger a complete economic reset, turning the entire stock market upside down. Like I mentioned earlier, I predict fortunes will be made and lost on a scale that we've never seen before. Now, those who don't prepare for this reset could lose everything. But if you know what to do, I believe you'll have a rare chance to build wealth faster than any other tech trend in history. You see, this new type of computer can process information billions of times faster than today's most powerful supercomputers. Now, I'm talking about computers that leverage the principles of quantum mechanics to process information in ways that classical computers simply can't. You see, while classical computers we use today run step-by-step calculations, quantum computers can run simultaneous calculations. For example, if I gave a traditional computer 1,000 math problems, it would solve them one by one sequentially. A quantum computer can solve all of them at the same time. I know quantum computing can get extremely technical very quickly, as it uses quantum mechanics to do things that are impossible for any classical supercomputer. But all we need to know is that thanks to a quantum physics principle called superposition, these computers can perform certain calculations exponentially faster and exponentially more complex than classical supercomputers. It's so powerful, a physics PhD from Oxford said this: the best advanced tech is indistinguishable from magic, and that's how quantum computing is going to be. Indistinguishable from magic. That's how incredible this technology is. Now, just to give you an idea, Google recently announced a new quantum chip called Willow, and it gave an unsolvable mathematical task. That task was so complex that today's most powerful supercomputer would take more than 1,000,000,000,000 years to solve. But do you know how long it took that quantum computer to solve it? Under 5 minutes. Now, Google isn't the only one investing in this technology. Microsoft, IBM, and Amazon have all developed their own quantum chips. And I believe they're investing heavily in this new technology because they understand quantum will accelerate the development of AI. And like I mentioned before, all of today's big AI applications, like language models, self-driving cars, intelligent robots, require huge data sets and huge computational power. Training these models can take months and consume immense amounts of energy, enough to power large cities. The quantum computers would speed up that training, so instead of taking months of training, AI could be trained in just a few days. Now, just think about that. What happens when you combine the magical, godlike computational power of quantum computers with the pattern recognition and learning capabilities of artificial intelligence? Well, I'll tell you one thing, we're about to find out, because one tiny little company from Seattle is about to unlock the full power of quantum computers. And I'm about to give you the name of this company because it's critical that you act before December. I'm going to give you all the details now because quantum AI, or QAI for short, will be unlike anything that we've seen so far. When AI is powered by quantum computers, it will be so powerful that it will be able to solve humanity's biggest problems, like developing a new miracle drug to cure diseases like cancer and Alzheimer's, predicting the weather with godlike accuracy, finding an unlimited clean source of energy that could power the entire world for thousands of years, and much, much more. That's why quantum AI is set to reshape every facet of the global economy, and it's why quantum computing stocks are rapidly becoming some of the biggest winners on Wall Street. For example, a company called IonQ recently jumped high enough to turn $5,000 into more than $80,000 in just a couple of years. Shares of another quantum computing company called D-Wave jumped even higher, enough to turn $5,000 into almost $250,000. In just a 6-month window, shares of a company called Quantum Computing Inc. skyrocketed high enough to turn $5,000 into more than $300,000. Like I mentioned earlier, that last example alone returned more than 1,500 times more money than Nvidia. Now, of course, I can't promise gains this high. These are some of the best performing stocks in the market. But as you can see, quantum computing is already giving everyday folks a chance to build wealth much, much faster than even the best performing AI stock. Now, you might be wondering, if quantum computers are such a game changer, well, why aren't they mainstream yet? Why isn't everyone using these quantum computers? Well, the reality is we can't just order one online and have it shipped and plug it into the wall. They're all locked inside of labs. Why? Well, because they require precisely controlled operating environments. For example, due to the nature of quantum mechanics, these computers must be maintained at extremely cold temperatures. And I'm not talking about just cranking up the AC. I'm talking about temperatures as low as minus 459 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, that's the theoretical point where all molecular motion stops, and that's the only way to keep these computers stable. Otherwise, molecules would move, disrupting the quantum state and leading to a process scientists call decoherence, where you begin to see massive calculation errors. And that's why these computers must operate at a temperature of minus 459 degrees Fahrenheit. Do you have any idea how cold that is? Well, to put it into perspective, the coldest inhabited place on Earth is in a town in Siberia where typical winter lows hover around minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're talking about 400 degrees colder than that. It's so cold that if you entered a room at that temperature wearing a protective spacesuit, that suit would not protect you at all. Your entire body would freeze solid almost instantly. Even the air around you would freeze and become solid. The bottom line is, without these freezing temperatures, these computers are essentially useless. And that's what's creating a huge opportunity for you. You see, the most reliable way of achieving such low temperatures in a lab is by using a cryogenic device called dilution refrigerators. And these devices need a substance called helium-3 to operate. Now, as the CEO of quantum computing firm Maybell Quantum says, helium-3 will fuel a fundamental transformation in computing. In the coming years, we'll go from a few hundred quantum computers worldwide to thousands to tens of thousands, and they all need to get cold. Now, today, each dilution refrigerator uses a few dozen liters of helium-3. As quantum systems scale, the demand for helium-3 will skyrocket, with individual systems requiring hundreds or even thousands of liters. That means the future of quantum technology depends on helium-3, and that's what makes it so valuable. Just 1 pound of helium-3 cost about $9 million. Now, that's 163 times more expensive than cocaine, 225 times more expensive than gold, and even 75 times more expensive than Bitcoin. And quantum computers have not even gone mainstream yet. So simply put, I believe helium-3 is set to become the single most valuable resource in the tech world. And as far as I know, the Seattle company that I'm about to tell you about is the one company in America that I believe could secure enough supply of helium-3 to unlock the full power of quantum computing. And I'm about to give you the name of this company completely free of charge. This company is planning to make a critical move this December that I believe will land them on the front pages of the Wall Street Journal, blowing the lid on this $100 trillion opportunity. And I want you to get ahead of that. But first, I need to give you a heads up because this is the part of my presentation where things are going to start sounding a little bit crazy. So please, once again, I'm going to ask you, keep an open mind because throughout history, all of the major tech breakthroughs sounded like insane ideas at first. For example, in 1977, 1 year after Apple introduced its first personal computer, Ken Olsen, the founder of Digital Equipment Corp., famously said, there is no reason anyone would want a computer in their home. Personal computers sounded like an insane idea at that time. And yet, had you invested in Microsoft right after it launched Windows, you could have turned $1,000 into more than $9.2 million. It was a crazy idea that minted countless millionaires. Or look at Elon Musk's SpaceX. Just a few years ago, had I told you about rockets that could go into orbit and return to Earth and that we would be able to catch them with giant chopsticks, you would have thought I had lost my mind. But today, SpaceX is launching these reusable rockets that return to Earth by themselves every single week. Now, the venture capitalists who believed in that insane idea had a chance to see a whopping 1,481,381% gain, which is enough to turn each $100 bill into more than $1.4 million. Or think about this. Back in 2004, when no one was talking about artificial intelligence, had I told you that an AI would drive an electric car without any humans at the steering wheel, and that this car would outsell every car company in the world, I bet you would have called me crazy. But had you invested in Tesla back then, you could have pocketed a gain of 35,988%. It was just another crazy idea that made a lot of people rich. Now, I'm telling you these stories because I know that what I'm about to tell you will also sound absolutely nuts. Because if you dismiss this because you think it's just science fiction, you could be making the biggest financial mistake of your life. Just like dismissing the personal computer, just like dismissing reusable rockets and self-driving cars were huge mistakes. So please, I'll ask you once again to suspend your disbelief for just a moment. Let me show you what I discovered, and then you can make up your own mind. You see, like I mentioned before, helium-3 is essential for dilution refrigeration, which is the most reliable way of maintaining the super cold temperatures quantum computers require. But there is a big problem. One of the main sources of helium-3 is solar wind, but the Earth's magnetic field protects us from solar wind, fortunately. But for that reason, helium-3 is extremely rare on Earth, and that's the bad news. Now, here's the good news. The moon doesn't have any magnetic field protection. So for billions of years, the sun has been bombarding the moon with large quantities of helium-3. That's why these particles have settled on the surface of the moon, easily accessible. NASA has estimated that there could be up to 3 million tons of helium-3 on the moon's surface. The bottom line is, if we want quantum computers to reach their full potential and actually deliver quantum AI, we'll have to mine helium-3 from the moon's surface. And look, I'll be the first to admit that this might sound absolutely insane, but the reality is there's trillions of dollars on the line. And that's why venture capitalists, the U.S. Department of Energy, NASA, and the National Science Foundation are all getting behind a little-known company that could actually make that happen. Now, here's the name. It's called Interloon, and I believe it's the only company that could help America secure enough supply of helium-3 and unlock the full potential of QAI. Now, most people have never heard of this company because it's very small and it's only been around for a few years. But they already developed this lunar excavator prototype that was specifically designed to extract helium-3 from the moon's surface. And it can dig through 100 metric tons of lunar surface per hour. And it can autonomously sort and extract helium-3 for shipment back to Earth. Now, this company is currently planning its first lunar mission, and as the CEO says, we're testing hardware now and getting ready to conduct our mission. The company already signed a deal with Maybell Quantum Industries to supply thousands of liters of helium-3 from the moon. The Department of Energy has also agreed to purchase at least 3 liters of helium-3 from Interloon. So as crazy as all of this sounds, this is happening with or without you. And anyone who thinks that it's just science fiction will be left out of this incredible opportunity. Now, you can't easily invest in Interloon because it's a small startup, but here's the good news. I found a backdoor way for you to potentially profit from helium-3 and its quantum computing revolution. You see, as you could probably imagine, mining helium-3 from the moon is a very complex operation that will require the participation of various companies with unique expertise. And I found another company that I believe will be even more critical for this helium-3 mission. It has developed a revolutionary space exploration technology that makes the entire mission economically viable. And it's a game-changing technology that's protected by 179 patents. Elon Musk even called this company tech a pivotal breakthrough. Simply put, without this tech invention, this mission to mine helium-3 on the moon would never happen. And that's not just me saying it. The CEO of Interloon admitted that without this company, they'd have no chance of extracting helium-3 from the moon. And that's why I believe this company that I'm recommending could be the key to unlocking quantum computing. And it's why I call it the quantum keystone. Now, billionaire Ron Barron believes this company could get as big as Nvidia, which is why he's put almost 20% of his entire portfolio into this single company. And he expects to make at least 10x his money in the coming years. And he is not alone. The who's who in Silicon Valley is getting behind this company. It's backed by legendary investors like venture capitalist Peter Thiel, the co-founder of PayPal and Palantir. Like I mentioned earlier, Google has a big interest in developing quantum computers, and they already invested $1 billion into this company. Legendary venture capital firm Sequoia Capital is also backing this company. That's the VC firm that invested early in Apple, Google, and Nvidia before they went public. I mentioned Mark Andreessen earlier. He's arguably the best venture capitalist on the planet. He got into Facebook, Twitter, Airbnb, and Coinbase before they went public. And he's also backing this company that I'm recommending. Now, these are not some random funds with no track record. These are the kings of Silicon Valley, the heaviest of the heavy hitters, and they're going all in because they know this company that I'm calling the Quantum Keystone will play a key role in the future of quantum computing. Even the U.S. government is supporting this company's operation. The Trump administration understands that being a leader in quantum computing will be critical to our national security. In fact, according to a retired U.S. Air Force Lieutenant General, China has already started mining helium-3 from the moon. Why? Because they want to be the leader in AI and quantum computing. The bad news for China is that they're competing with President Trump, and I believe he will not let America lose this space race. That's a big reason why this company is already contractually guaranteed to receive billions of dollars from the U.S. government in exchange for its services in the coming months and years. So we couldn't have asked for a more perfect scenario for higher prices. But if you want a chance to see the biggest possible gains, you will need to act fast because this mission to get helium-3 from the moon is already in motion. As the first step of this mission, Interloon is set to send a camera to the moon by the end of this year. Now, if you wait until that happens, it could be too late because that camera will tell them how much helium-3 is present in the lunar soil. Now, remember, NASA estimates we could find as much as 3 million tons. So I'm sure the first step of this mission will be positive. And once the results are splashed all over the media, the cat will be out of the bag and shares of the Quantum Keystone could be trading much higher. Now, to help you get started with this incredible opportunity, I put all the details inside a special report called The Quantum Keystone, the #1 way to profit from the quantum AI boom. Now, inside, you'll discover the name of this company in my full analysis, and I'll tell you exactly how to claim your stake. And I actually want to give this report to you for free, and all I ask in return is that you take the next 30 days to try out my monthly research service called the Near Future Report. And that's where I publish many of my very best investment ideas every single month and you can try it for the next 30 days at absolutely no risk to you. I call it the near future because the future is coming much, much faster than we think. Technology is moving so fast that it's really hard for most to keep up. Now, I'm sure you've noticed it. By the time we hear about it from the mainstream media, it's already too late. Shares have already popped. I mean, did anyone tell you to invest in Bitcoin in 2015 or Nvidia in early 2016? How about Tesla in April of 2018? I doubt it. Most people missed out on those big moves because by the time you hear about these paradigm tech shifts, it's simply too late. But my readers had a chance to get in all those tech trends early and walk away with massive gains. And that's my mission in the pages of the Near Future Report. My goal is to help you identify and potentially profit from the big trends on the verge of mass adoption before they become breaking news on mainstream media. For example, recently I told my readers to buy shares of a company called MP Materials because it was mining critical minerals for the development of AI and our military. Now, here's a short clip about that recommendation. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the government even decides to invest directly in this company. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum has confirmed that the Trump administration is considering making an equity investment in each of these companies that's taking on China in critical minerals. Now, what do you think is going to happen to its shares of the company if the government announces an investment? You don't have to be a genius to know shares will likely go a lot higher. Just a few days later, the Department of Defense announced a $400 million investment in MP Materials. And guess what happened? Shares popped as much as 50% that day as the news shocked everyone. Everyone but my readers. Shares kept going higher, giving my readers a chance to more than double their money in just a couple weeks. Now, aside from showing you early stage trends and giving you a chance to get ahead of everyone else, like what happened with MP Materials, in the pages of the Near Future Report, I'll also help you navigate the ups and downs of the stock market. For example, on March 17, 2020, amidst peak pandemic hysteria, I called the bottom of the stock market with almost perfect timing. I told my readers, things are absolutely going to get better. This will probably be one of the best opportunities to make investments over the course of the next decade. 3 days later, the stock market began a historic bounce back. Since then, the S&P 500 has more than doubled, but some of my picks from my model portfolio jumped much, much higher. If you had held on past their original recommendations that sold at their peak, you could have made as much as 3,424%. In Nvidia, Arista Networks as much as 1,038%. Palo Alto Networks, 756%. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, 494%. These were all market-beating gains by a very wide margin. Now remember, you can try the Near Future Report for the next 30 days with no risk to you. And when you do, I'll immediately send you the special report, the Quantum Keystone, the #1 way to profit from the quantum AI boom, completely free of charge. Look, like I showed you before, my readers already had a chance to turn $1,000 into $22,500 in Tesla, $277,000 in Nvidia, and $491,000 in Bitcoin. So even if I charged $10,000 for a membership, it would be well worth it. But here's the good news for you. I'm not publishing my research for the benefit of rich institutional investors. I'm publishing it for everyday folks like you. For that reason, it won't cost anywhere near $10,000. Now, normally a 1-year membership to the Near Future Report costs $499, but it gets even better. Since this is an urgent opportunity that we'll likely never see again, I don't want you to miss out because of the price. So I'm going to give you a special discount. That's right, you won't even have to pay the retail price. But before I give you the details, I'd like to give you access to 3 more bonus reports with even more explosive opportunities. Now, bonus report #1 is called The Secret Google Quantum Partner That's Set to Skyrocket. And like I mentioned earlier, Google is one of the leaders in the quantum computing revolution. It shocked the world when it revealed its quantum chip called Willow. So, in this report, I'm going to tell you about a little known Google partner that I believe is about to skyrocket. You see, during the internet buildup in the 1990s, some of the biggest gains came from companies that were building the internet infrastructure. For example, look at internet networking and communications equipment firm Juniper Networks. In the 1990s alone, shares jumped an incredible 2,600%. That's enough to turn $1,000 into more than $27,000. Telecom equipment maker JDS Uniphase jumped more than 70,000%, enough to turn $1,000 into a $704,000 nest egg. Shares of EMC Corp, which makes data storage software and equipment, went much higher. It exploded high enough to turn a small stake of $1,000 into more than $1.4 million. Now, we could see something similar with quantum computing, which is why I'm also recommending a quantum infrastructure play. It's a little known company that developed a technology that's essential to every single quantum computer. Now, like I mentioned earlier, these computers are incredibly sensitive and they can be affected by tiny disturbances like temperature changes or electromagnetic noise. Now, that can lead to big computational errors. This company's technology works like the conductor of the quantum orchestra. It monitors the quantum state and makes adjustments, if necessary, to make sure the computer is operating at peak performance without errors. Now, as quantum computing begins to go mainstream, I believe this company's business will boom, sending shares a lot higher. Now, you'll find the name, ticker symbol, and my full analysis inside this report called The Secret Google Quantum Partner That's Set to Skyrocket. It's yours free when you join the Near Future Report. And you'll also gain access to bonus report number 2. It's called The Quantum Loser, the one popular quantum stock to avoid. You see, there's a lot of excitement right now around quantum computers, but you need to be very careful because some of these stocks are trading at ridiculous valuations. Others might be a complete scam. Now, inside this report, I'll tell you about a popular quantum stock that I believe will burn a lot of investors. I believe this company recently changed its name just to cash in on the quantum hype. It has no strategic partners. It has had multiple CEOs in recent years, and it might soon run out of cash to operate. On top of all of those red flags, it's trading at a ridiculous valuation at more than 7,000 times sales. Now, to put that into perspective, anything above 10 is generally considered to be expensive. For example, at the peak of the dot-com bubble in 2000, Cisco was trading at 38 times sales. It crashed 90%. 7,000 times sales is absolutely insane. So we could see something similar here or even worse. And you'll find the name of this company and all the details inside this report. It's also yours free, and there's still more. The third bonus report that I want to give you access to is called The Robotic Renaissance: How to Profit from Trump's $12 trillion Manufacturing Revolution. Now, it's no secret that Trump wants to bring manufacturing back to the U.S., and I believe his policies will spark the biggest industrial boom in American history, unlocking $12 trillion in new wealth. And I believe one AI company could go parabolic during this new boom. And no, I'm not talking about Nvidia, Microsoft, Google, or any of these popular AI stocks. Those are all old news. You see, for years, AI has mostly been invisible. It was just software powering things like search engines and chatbots. But now we're moving into the next phase of this AI boom. It's something that I call manifested AI. AI is no longer operating only in the digital world. It's now manifesting into the real world, powering physical things through automation. That's why the CEO of Nvidia said the ChatGPT moment for robotics is coming. Manifested AI will bring about the next industrial revolution. Now, I'm talking about the physical embodiment of artificial intelligence. But not just the rigid single-arm, single-task robots that we've seen in car factories for decades. I'm talking about intelligent, vision-guided humanoids that can work side by side with humans, adapt on the fly, learn by doing, and even make decisions in real time. Now, most people think that's many years away, but a few hundred of Elon Musk's humanoid Optimus robots are already walking factory floors and Tesla offices in Fremont, California. Elon expects to have thousands of these robots working at Tesla factories by the end of this year. And I believe factory work, well, it's just the beginning. I expect that once these robots are trained well enough to move and behave like humans, once they've been optimized and can avoid glitches, they'll begin to hit homes across the United States. Now, I know a lot of people still believe this is just science fiction that will never happen, and they can't imagine a world where millions of robots are just walking among us. Now, I believe those people are making a big mistake, and they will end up missing out on the biggest consumer product of this century. And that's not just me saying it. According to Goldman Sachs, humanoid robots could become the next must-have device, just like smartphones. Now, imagine having a butler that's smarter than any human on the planet, one that can teach your children and grandchildren better than any teacher, one that could instantly answer any question you might have about basically anything, and one that could also do tasks around the house, wash the dishes, do the laundry, mow the lawn. That is Elon's vision. Elon predicted that in the future, everyone will want to own one of these Tesla robots. He said, we expect to scale Optimus up faster than any product in history, and he believes it will become the biggest product ever of any kind. You know what? I believe he's right, and it's why I'm extremely bullish on Tesla right now. But aside from Tesla, I'm also recommending shares of another smaller Elon Musk supplier. Now, this little-known company is already supplying Tesla with a key piece of sensor technology, so I wouldn't be surprised if they end up supplying Optimus with those sensors as well. In fact, Morgan Stanley just recommended this stock as one of the key ways to play this robotics trend, and they're not alone. While most people are in the dark, more than 700 hedge funds are investing in this little-known stock. Now, I don't want you to be left out in the cold, which is why the moment you join the Near Future Report, you will gain immediate access to this bonus report called The Robotic Renaissance: How to Profit from Trump's $12 trillion Manufacturing Revolution. Again, all these reports are yours free when you join the Near Future Report. So here's the deal. Like I mentioned earlier, the normal price for a one-year membership is $499. But today, you'll get a huge discount. You can begin your risk-free membership for just $179. And remember, I'm not even asking for any type of long-term commitment. You can just try it out and decide later if it's right for you. And I'll give you 30 days to test out the service with no risk at all. And if during that period you find that you're not getting the best tech investing research you've ever seen, or for any reason at all, you can simply call our member services team and cancel your membership. We'll give you a full refund on your order, no questions asked. And we'll let you keep everything you received as a member at no charge. That's right. You can keep all of the issues. You can keep all these special reports that you see on your screen. You can keep everything. And this means that there is no risk to you at all for this offer. Now, to get started, just simply click on the button below. You'll be taken to another page where you can review everything one last time. And like I showed you here today, quantum computing is set to trigger a historic economic reset. Fortunes will be made and lost like never before, and most people won't know what to do and could lose a big chunk of their money. But with all the ideas that I shared with you today, I am confident you'll be on the winning side of this $100 trillion reset. The company I'm calling the Quantum Keystone. It's perfectly positioned to profit from this trend. It has developed a breakthrough technology that will be key to this helium-free mission. It's a tech that's protected by 179 patents. No wonder this company is backed by all of the smartest players in Silicon Valley. Not to mention, it's already contractually guaranteed to receive billions of dollars from the U.S. government. Billionaire Ron Barron believes this company could get as big as Nvidia and make at least 10x his money in the coming years. But I believe he's actually being conservative. The gains could be much higher. But if you wait, you could miss out on the biggest possible gains. Now, I already showed you what happened to Tesla. It went up as high as 2,100% in the years after I recommended it. And anyone who waited missed out on those big gains. The same thing happened with Nvidia. It went up as high as 27,000% since I recommended it back in 2016. And anyone who waited missed out on those big gains. The same thing happened with Bitcoin. It went up more than 45,000% after I recommended it. And anyone who waited missed out on those big gains. So please don't make that mistake. Click on the button below to get started. You can't afford to wait because the first step of this lunar mission is already underway, and they're set to announce results of that initial exploration soon. And once that becomes headlines in the media, it will be too late. And look, if you're still not sure the Near Future Report is right for you, let me share a few emails that I've received from my readers, and maybe that'll help you decide. Tim says, Jeff, I've been investing and working in the technology industry since 1985. Your insight and experience is easily the best I have ever read. I'm in my first year with you and have made good money with your recommendations. Thank you. Ruan says, I've been a loyal subscriber for some time now and greatly admire and appreciate the work you do to bring us readers such quality recommendations. Your newsletters are well worth their weight in gold. And Leonard says, just wanted you all to know that this is the most trustworthy news and picks I ever came across. Hands down, my portfolio is nothing now but Jeff's picks, and I'm very pleased with how they are performing. The best newsletter published, period. Keep up the great work. I want you to be the next success story, so please click on that button to get started. Just remember that all investments carry risk, and past performance does not guarantee future success. Now, I know I've covered a lot of ground, so I just want to show you one more time everything that you get when you join me today. 12 months of my best investment ideas. Every month, you'll get a brand new issue of the Near Future Report with my top way of playing AI, blockchain, robotics, self-driving cars, and all of the most exciting tech trends of our time. Special report, the Quantum Keystone, the #1 way to profit from the quantum AI boom. This is the company that billionaire Ron Barron believes could 10x your money in the coming years. Bonus report, #1, the secret Google quantum partner that's set to skyrocket. Now, most people have never heard of this company, but it has developed a technology that is essential to every single quantum computer. Bonus report #2, the quantum loser, the one popular quantum stock to avoid. And get the name and ticker inside this report, and if you're holding this stock, I recommend selling now. It could go to zero. Bonus report #3, the robotic renaissance, how to profit from Trump's $12 trillion manufacturing revolution. Now, I'll tell you about a little-known company that I believe could explode higher as Elon begins to roll out his Optimus robot. And aside from all these special reports, you'll also get full 24/7 access to our members-only website. And that's where you can access all the issues, all the special reports, video updates, and our model portfolio, where you can see all the current open positions. And you'll get full support from my team. So please feel free to call or email them for any help that you need with your membership. But please remember, they cannot offer personalized investment advice. Now remember, I'm not even asking you to make any long-term commitment. Today you can try the Near Future Report at zero risk to you because you have 30 days to decide. So click on that button to get started. You really have nothing to lose. And if you get my research and don't like what you see, that's okay. No worries. I'll give you your money back. Let you keep everything and we'll part as friends. Now, I'm sure you'll make the right decision for you and your loved ones, and I want to thank you for your time and watching my presentation, and I look forward to welcoming you to the Near Future Report. Thank you for watching, and remember, we have so much to look forward to.